Hello and welcome to The Thrifty Author. I'm your host, Gail C. Martin, and today we're picking up where we left off before with the next installment of social media and online apps for authors. And we're going to be talking more about that online experience and using social media to reach readers and to boost the visibility of your book. So this time, we're talking about the rise of the author marketer. Now, if that makes you cringe, don't worry, it doesn't have to be scary or hard. What it basically means is that you have not only the ability to help promote your book, but also the responsibility and the opportunity and the control. That's probably the most exciting piece of this, is that you're not dependent on a publishing house's PR department to spare your book the time away from their huge bestsellers and, dribble a few resources your way. It's your book, it's your voice, and you can market the book yourself, even if you are traditionally published, and certainly more so if you are in indie or small press. So what this means, we talked last time about the fact that even at a big press, and I've been at presses of all sizes, there's never enough marketing budget or people or time to go around. And it's kind of like being in a family with 20 kids. Your parents love you, but they've got 19 other mouths to feed, and so you don't get all their attention. But your books are your books, and so they get all of your attention. And you want to give them all your attention so that more people know that those wonderful books are out there so that they can enjoy them and look forward to the next book that you're writing. So this is the opportunity in being the author marketer. Now, if you happen to have a background in marketing, it definitely comes in handy. But don't despair if you don't. Really, a lot of this is enthusiasm and common sense and learning a few do's and don'ts and how the marketing world works. And you can do this very successfully for yourself. Or, of course, you may decide that you want to eventually hire someone to do parts of it for you. But I assure you, you'll be happier with the outcome if you've done it yourself enough to know how it works, what's possible, what isn't possible, what's hard, what's easy. You'll be a much better manager of anybody you hire to do pieces of it for you if you've already been in the trenches and done it yourself, because then you'll know how it really works. So what we're talking about today is reaching two key audiences. There are readers, of course, but then there's also what we would traditionally call the media. What we mean here are the people who write about books, and that can be blogs, podcasts, online magazines, that can very loosely include things like conventions, online conventions, in-person conventions, writer workshops, anything that, and reviewers, of course, not just individuals who review, but people who run a blog site or website that is dedicated to reviews. Back in the old day, it used to be things like Publishers Weekly and Carcass Reviews and the book review sections and all the newspapers that aren't there anymore. And now most of those things have gone away. We now have book reviews out there by people who write reviews and run review sites just because they love reading and everybody asks them their opinion anyhow, so they might as well put it on the web for everybody to read. Those sites can be very valuable in getting your name and your book out to people who haven't heard of you, because you want to start spreading beyond your individual reach, your friends and friends of friends and so on. And the best way to do that is to be able to reach out to those bloggers and reviewers and other sites with a hook that makes them interested in accepting your book out of the many, many that are pitched to them. And nobody has enough time to review all the books they could. So you want to be able to stand out. And sometimes this means thinking of your book in two different ways. One is, what are my readers looking for? And the other is, what would make this book stand out to somebody who looks at dozens of books every day to get it picked out of the pile for them to want to review it? And there will be some similarities between those two things. There will also be some differences, because the reviewer might be a little more jaded than the reader. Readers often pick a type and they know they're getting the same thing over and over and over again, but it's like, getting your favorite flavor of ice cream. Yes, you always get that, You get it because you like it. No, you don't want to change. That's your favorite for a reason. And so reviewers often are looking for what's the unusual flavor of the month. What haven't I tried before? What makes the same thing different? What twists the trope? And so that's definitely a hook that you can use when you are submitting your book for reviewers and pitching it to bloggers who write about books, or even setting your book up to go on a book tour of blog sites. You want to be able to let them know it stands out from the crowd. It's not the same as everything else they've read in your genre, and this is why. So, and if it sounds hard, it really isn't. It gets better with practice. But the sooner you realize that there are two different ways to describe your book, depending on who you're trying to persuade, a general reader to say, hey, you like this kind of book? This is that kind of book. You really want to read this book. It's the same, only different, or it's really cool, but it's different. For the reviewers, it's, there's this really cool thing I bet you haven't seen before, or this is a completely different take, or I come at this in a different way. Really important distinction. And knowing that and building it into your communications, whether it's the way you write your book description, the way you write your pitch letter to the reviewer, is going to make a big difference and save you a lot of time and frustration. That's the tip this week. We will be back with more on how to use social media to boost your book. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you online.